The books you never read.
Well, we have to do the thing.
Sorry. Do we need the light on? Is it too dark?
We need the light on.
Hi. Okay.
The show is that we get worse the longer we do it.
It's a brand new day.
Okay. All right.
Welcome to Books You Never Read.
Except for those we have.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
And this is our final discussion for The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern.
Yeah.
If this is your first time joining us, please pause the video and go read the book and then watch week 1 and then watch week 2 and then watch week 3. You participate in the live chat if you're here with us live and you're ready to talk about the book, or you chat it up in the comment section below the video if you're catching us on the replay. We're on little old Instagram for the memes, and we're on YouTube Music as a podcast if you want to hear us but not see us.
Which I highly recommend.
We will also be releasing the syllabus episode for our next book today. And what's that book called?
It's called Neuromancer. No idea who wrote it.
Haven't heard good
No
things
clue.
about it, so here we go.
Yeah, I've heard the hat betrayed us.
Yeah, that's what Greg said. So,
What I need to start doing is Greg is one of our oldest followers on this channel, and
or like longest.
yeah. I don't know his age at all, and that's okay. But what I should do is, if I think I want to put a book on my list, I just need to go check his Goodreads.
Yeah.
And see
if
what
he's
he
read it
wrote.
and see what his review was.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's never
Peggy's
steered us
afraid
wrong, so.
of the
No.
next book.
Well, we'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then
We'll
after
make it
that, we
through.
need to talk about maybe taking a break or something for a little while. But we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. After the Flanders panel, we can read anything and be fine,
Yeah.
I think.
We've had a good time with the rough ones.
So, I think it'll be fun, and we'll make it fun, and at least, like, talking about it, we'll still learn cool stuff. But before we move on to the next book,
Yeah.
let's talk
We have to
about
finish this
this
book.
book. And
Yeah.
Peggy says she likes it very much. When we left last week, as we were signing off, Shelby had pushed a chat through that said, I wonder if someone's going to be stuck in the circus.
Well, we got like 3 somebodies now, right? We have Marco, we have Celia, and we have Bailey. And like maybe Poppet and Widget, like maybe,
Because
but I
his
don't.
name was on the piece of paper with their name.
Yeah,
And I wonder, like, did he ask for their permission
I'm sure he did.
to do that?
Well, and what's interesting is that Poppet and Widget were the only people before not stuck in the circus.
Yeah.
They were the only ones aging and all
And
that.
and that kind of brings around, let's assume that he did talk about that to them, and that they had their consent, or he had their consent to be in the circus forever. Now we have a new generation of this circus built around control. You know, when it started, what are their names? Marco and Celia were trapped into this through someone else's control. They didn't have a choice to be part of it. And now it's being done the right way.
Yeah. You know,
No choice.
towards the end of this, I was thinking about, we talked at least some last week about how, like, well, this is dumb. Like, these 2 old dudes who are, like, now we know, like, significantly older than we ever thought. I kind of expected us to get, like, a reveal that this was, like, Cain and Abel or something. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of expected something
Did I
like that.
dream that I read that they were brothers?
I don't think they're brothers.
Okay.
But so A.H. was the teacher of Prospero, and then they just like split up, and they've been doing this for like centuries or whatever. Anyway, whatever. But we're like, this is dumb that people are still fighting like their daddy's wars or whatever. And then I was like, oh, but we fight our daddy's wars, right?
Right.
Like this is
A fantasy world version of reality.
yeah, where we just some people got in a fight 100 years ago, and we're just like still doing it, and none of the people are alive, but here we are. It's crazy.
And the story that we're reading is Widget's story.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I really enjoyed that monologue there at the end about like a story is magic and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was
Carl
really good.
Sagan said that too. Not brothers. Hector was the OG student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy because like once they decide like, well, my method is better than your method, we should have a fight about it. I don't think you get to do like 8 redos. You know, like whoever won the first time, like all right,
Well, and
yeah,
that's the struggle with living forever,
yeah,
or living a long time,
right,
is you just have all this time to just rehash out old grudges and
yeah.
fights and
Well, and it sounds like Prospero lost pretty much every single one of these.
and
Which
what
is
is it, the argument between being born with it and training for it?
I guess, but also like Prospero does like the experiential training. He like literally tortured Celia.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Right. How do we feel about Tsukiko?
I mean, like we always knew she was kind of magic. All right, now she's the last student, but she's like down with continuing this cycle of violence, I guess. And then whenever it doesn't end the way she wants it to, she decides like, well, I'm just gonna like wreck this game. Oh, okay. That kind of came out of nowhere. Like that. I mean, like we knew that she was telling Celia, "I'm gonna give you some time to like figure this out or whatever." But it's because Sugiko doesn't want to leave the circus. She wants to go on forever or whatever. And I have some thoughts about that situation. But okay, you know, like
The
we've all suffered
problem,
through this for 30 years or whatever.
yeah. The problem is for these magical folks, there is no other place in the world for them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so, whether the intentions behind it are good, like with Bailey and with Marco and Celia, they just want to keep this alive because of the people and the good that it can do and how beautiful it can be.
Yeah.
We have Tsukiko, who wants to keep it alive because that gives her value.
Yeah.
It's a self, they're all selfish aims in there, but you're going to have the good and the bad in there. Someone willing to do it out of love and someone willing to do it out of self, I guess. Peggy feels bad for Kiko. She's living in pain. Yeah. And it's a student, the whole battle with Hector and Alexander, it's a student who keeps losing but wanting to prove his teacher wrong.
I don't know. So going back, like the whole idea of like, well, we must protect the circus and it must go on forever is like weird and unnatural, you know, and it's as unnatural as these teachers living forever, and it should be allowed to die, you know, like it's
But it's hard because non-magical people are getting wrapped up in it.
sure.
And,
find something else.
and we see what happens when they let it fall apart, like Erthesen being murdered and Tara being murdered, and
Yeah,
we can't forget that Alexander did that.
yeah,
That he controlled Chandrish, and Chandrish really was not alive and of his own faculties.
yeah,
He was under the control of him until Poppet went and kind of released him from that.
yeah, yeah. You're right.
So you've created this environment, and now Celia and Marco see that it's their responsibility to protect the people within that environment.
Yeah, but I mean, so now the circus is going to go on forever, but the only people bound to it, as best I can tell, are Bailey and maybe Poppet and Witch. I wasn't clear on that part, but so they're the only ones who are going to like live forever and enjoy this forever. You know, and so like, fine, you want to protect this for the patrons or whatever. The patrons are going to move on and they will die, and
But it's a cycle, right? Like there's always new people that become attached, and
yeah. You know, so the whole point of Bailey ends up he's sort of like this circus Horcrux, right? Like that's the situation. And I really enjoyed whenever he meets Marco and Marco's like, "I'm sorry you're so young. This is kind of unfortunate. You weren't chosen for this. You just happen to be here." And so like he was it's one of those like circular time things that you get with anybody being able to predict the future. You know, Bailey is there because Poppet saw it in the future, but Poppet only saw it in the future because she told him it. You know, and so we have this sort of Ouroboros situation going on. But you know, Marco tells him like, "You're not special.
you weren't destined.
You weren't
you're
destined.
not
You're just
the chosen
here.
one.
You're just here, and I need a body for this thing to be bound to. Do you accept?" And you know, that's not an uncommon trope. You know, Frodo was not chosen. Bilbo was not chosen. They just happen to be dudes who are along for the ride or whatever. In other fantasies, you do have chosen ones, right? You have Luke Skywalker and people like that. But I like the chosen thing sort of being at the end instead of the beginning. And or like the hapless hero,
Yeah.
being at the end, because you don't have this. Bailey doesn't have a hero's journey. He doesn't become something. He isn't trying to achieve a quest. He is literally chilling, trying to figure out how to like get away from his family and his terrible sister, and then ends up doing this thing, with his little email address there at the end.
Yeah, so I mean, like the circus goes on to modern times.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yep.
This is a book. Oh, and thank you, Peggy, for clearing that up. Hector had a little ghost chat with Chandrish and
Right.
got Chandrish to go with murder on his mind. But right, Frederick wasn't protected. It's the Neville conspiracy that Harry Potter wasn't the chosen one. Yep. Or and either could have been, and that's the weird thing about prophecies is, and like in that show that we watched, Chaos, the prophecy only exists if you believe it does.
Right.
You are the one who makes it come true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But lots of themes of agency and control and being able to affect the outcomes of your own life and whose path do you take. And it seems like no matter whose path you take, when you think you're taking your own, you're really taking what someone else kind of laid for you.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting way to look at life. You think that you are making your choices, you are choosing to do these things, but it's really someone planted the idea, someone laid the pathway. You're never really following your own fate, your own fulfillment. It's all intertwined.
Well, for you to make like a truly free choice, you kind of have to do something like absolutely wild. Like maybe assuming the circus was not magical and there was no prophecy of the future, leaving your house to join the circus instead of going to Harvard or taking over the farm. Like, okay, right, now that's like a radically different path. But oftentimes we see these paths split just to come back to the same place, and it's all sort of faked out or whatever.
Why is
this happening to me? Oh my god. This is ridiculous. YouTube needs to get their act together.
Do you think it's my phone?
No. Anyway, we're gonna stop the live and we'll create a new one. Sorry, guys.
And we'll have to post that one. That was good. I didn't post the one that